again, everyone. Welcome to this sort of rainy, yucky day, but I'm not complaining because the garden really needed it. But my potatoes, onions, and garlic are finished curing. Technically, they were finished curing quite a while ago. I'm just really behind as usual. But today I'm going to be doing final preparations for storage and putting them into containers where they will stay to be used throughout the fall and into winter. If you're interested in seeing how I cured these, I will link a video below where I have a full-length video of how I harvested, cured, and store my garlic. I will also link my other social media accounts below. I have shorter tip videos for how I harvest and cure my potatoes and onions. But in a nutshell, after I harvest them and let them dry in a shaded spot for a few days, I will move them into my unfinished basement because it is cool and dark. And I will either place them on a curing rack or on a tarp, and I will put an oscillating fan so I get plenty of good airflow, and there they will cure for several weeks. Or in my case, closer to a month. Maybe two. I'm not sure. But anyways, I will link all that information below. I will also link the video where we got the inspiration for our curing rack if you're interested in building one of your own. Okay, sorry, it started to rain, we had to move under cover. But anyways, normally I store these vegetables in things like bins or in crates. I also use these mesh kind of storage bags, and I will hang them from hooks and they will hang from shelves down in my basement. However, this year we grew quite a bit of vegetables, so I'm going to need a bigger option. So I bought a rolling vegetable storage rack from Amazon. I'm probably actually going to need 2, maybe even 3 of these, but I wanted to get one, put it together and try it out and see how I like it first. Okay, let's put it together. It also comes with this removable water tray that sort of slides into the bottom. I'm not quite sure why you would need this. The only thing I can think of is if you're storing like fresh veggies on this in your kitchen and you had maybe just washed them and then put them on here, this would catch any water that was dripping down. However, I'm storing very dry potatoes and onions, so I'm not anticipating needing this, but it's a good option. Let's grab some veggies. So I brought about half of my onions out, and I like to prep them outside because it can be a little bit messy. So I'm looking for a few things. Number one, I'm looking for the stem to be completely dry. I'm looking for a nice papery coating on the onion, and I'm also going to be inspecting them for any soft spots because I want to use these right away and not put them in storage. Now, all of these vegetables that I'm storing are varieties that are known to store really well, and that's what I grow for my fall and winter storage vegetables. So for example, these onions are Bridger, Cortland, Alyssa Craig, and another red storage onion. And I have found by choosing varieties that are known to store well, you're going to get a much longer use of them over the winter. So next I'm going to clip all the dead stems down on these onions, which is the messy part. And then I'm going to place them on the rack, and then we're going to wheel this inside so we can add the potatoes and garlic. Okay, sorry for the crazy lighting. It's usually really dark down here, so I had to bring a bright light, but the darkness is really great for storing vegetables. So I have most of the vegetables on this rack. A few of them I did store in those mesh bags. I also love to save the red mesh bags that citrus and popsicles come in. Those are a really great option to store onions and potatoes in. So as you can see, these potatoes are stacked a little bit deep, and you really would rather have them in a single layer to get better airflow. So I am going to go ahead and order another one of these racks, and I will probably turn them to face each other since this was the area I had to store most of my potatoes and onions. I also love the wire basket design because I was able to hang a lot of my dried herbs from the sides of the basket. So quickly, I have my garlic stored up top, then I have my yellow and sweet onions, my red onions, and then potatoes. And all in all, I think this is going to be a great option to store my vegetables in over the winter. Now, this definitely isn't a root cellar, which is the ideal condition that you would store these vegetables in. So in my unfinished basement, the temperatures are usually around mid to low 60s during those late fall and winter months. So usually these potatoes, again, these are storage varieties. Usually these potatoes and onions will last until January, maybe early February. The garlic will usually last a lot longer. But all in all, I would say this is a great option if you don't have a root cellar. If you don't even have an unfinished basement, if you have a north-facing room that has a closet, or anywhere really where you're going to have cooler temperatures, good airflow, and darkness. Quick update, I did go ahead and buy a second rack so that I could spread the potatoes out thinner, which will get me a little bit more air circulation. So I think that this will work out pretty well. I also wanted to note that if you will be storing potatoes and onions in a small enclosed area like a pantry or a closet, anywhere really that doesn't get a lot of air circulation, you're going to want to keep those potatoes and onions as separate from each other as possible. Onions will emit a gas that can actually cause potatoes to sprout. Now in this room, it's a fairly large room and I actually get a cross breeze from the room next door being ventilated. So I have not had issues with the onions causing the potatoes to sprout in the past, even storing them close together within a foot of each other. Also, because of the design of the rack, I think the at least 10-inch space between as well as the airflow underneath will prevent any of those gases from accumulating. That being said, this is a brand new storage system, so I'll definitely keep you updated on how this goes. But again, if you don't have a large space or a very good air circulation where you will be storing, I would either choose to store only onions or potatoes on the rack, or if you're going to have two separate racks, I would keep them as far away from each other as possible. Thanks so much for watching with me today. I'm gonna head inside before I get stormed on. Don't forget to check out those links below. I will also put a link for the storage rack and the mesh storage bags. Until then, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.